Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in a toxic relationship? Like you're struggling just to keep your head above water? Well, what if I told you there's an ancient blueprint, a really powerful metaphor that's designed to build a modern defense for your mind? So let's dive into this design together and see how we can build something truly unsinkable. And that feeling, it's not just difficult, it's completely disorienting. It's like being caught in a violent storm that fractures your identity, leaving you feeling totally lost at sea. You have these waves of confusion and manipulation just crashing over you from every single direction. It is an exhausting, relentless assault on who you are. Exactly. And that's the big question, isn't it? What if that storm wasn't the end of your story? What if you were actually given the tools to not just survive it, but to ride out the flood with this incredible, unshakable peace? Okay, so to build our defense, we first have to understand exactly what we're up against. We need to name the storm and really identify the destructive forces that are at play here. This right here, this lays it all out so clearly. On one side, you've got the flood. Now, this represents what psychologists actually call the dark triad. Narcissism, which is that toxic self-obsession, Machiavellianism, a willingness to manipulate and deceive, and psychopathy, a total lack of empathy. These are forces of deconstruction. But on the other side, we have the arc, our defense, and it's built from virtues like love and clear boundaries. These are the forces of construction. So how can you spot this flood in your own life? Well, we're given this really powerful diagnostic tool, the rotten fruit test. It asks you to forget their words, forget their promises, or any spiritual language they might use, and just focus on one thing. What is the actual result of your interactions with them? If the consistent outcome is chaos, anxiety, or fear, then the relationship is toxic. It's really that simple. All right, so now that we get the storm, let's get to the good part, the solution. Let's take a look at the divine blueprint for building a mind that is truly, truly resilient. And here it is, the spiritual arc. Just like Noah was given these very specific dimensions to make sure his ark could withstand the flood, this model suggests that we are given specific virtues that provide the spiritual and psychological integrity to withstand the flood of toxicity. We're going to build this ark in 3 key stages. We'll start with the foundation, which is faith. Then we'll establish the stabilizing anchor of hope. And finally, we'll install the perspective-shifting window of charity. Let's start building. We've got to begin with the most critical component, the foundation itself, the part that's designed to keep those floodwaters out. Now, in this model, faith isn't just some vague belief, it's an actual structural element. It's the 300-cubit length of the ark that provides all that stability. This faith anchors your identity in something absolutely unshakable, sealing your mind from the toxic water of gaslighting and all the lies that try to seep in and redefine your reality. And this quote from Hebrews, wow, it's just so powerful because it frames faith as an action. I mean, think about it. Noah didn't just believe a flood was coming. He picked up a hammer and he started building, probably while everyone around him was mocking him. Faith is the act of constructing your defense, even when the world calls you foolish for doing it. Okay, so the foundation is laid. Now we need to make sure our vessel can handle those violent waves of emotion without getting overturned. And this is where hope comes in. Now, what's really fascinating here is this idea of hope as width. While faith gives the ark its length and its stability, hope gives it that 50-cubit breadth it needs to absorb the shock of emotional attacks and betrayals without flipping over. It's what keeps you steady when you get hit by a really big wave. And get this, there's an even deeper layer here. In biblical symbolism, the number 50 is incredibly significant. It's tied to Jubilee, the year of freedom and release from all debts. It's also connected to Pentecost, the moment of spiritual empowerment. So this tells us that hope isn't just wishful thinking. It's a deep conviction that you are built for freedom and that you have the strength to endure. So we've built the foundation and we've secured the anchor. Now for the final and highest part of the ark, this is the piece that completely changes our perspective on the storm. So the blueprint for the ark had a single window at the very top. This is charity, or divine love, and its placement is completely intentional. It forces your gaze upward, toward the light, which stops you from fixating on all the swirling chaos and debris of toxic behavior that's floating in the water below you. The point is this.
Your focus determines your peace. And this is the result. This is the payoff. When your focus is directed upward, through charity, it literally breaks the chains of fear and resentment and trauma bonding. It reminds us of that principle that perfect love casts out fear. It isn't about ignoring the flood. It's about choosing to look at the one thing that is so much more powerful than the flood. So as you're navigating your own storms, remember the practical tools this blueprint gives you. You've got the Jade response, which means you never have to justify, argue, defend, or explain yourself in toxic conversations. It helps you avoid those draining, circular arguments. And of course, the rotten fruit test, which keeps your focus on reality, not on manipulative words. Think of these as your onboard instruments for navigating safely inside your arc.
At the end of the day, a blueprint is just a plan on paper. It's powerful and it's proven, but it needs a builder. And that leaves us with a really personal question. The design for an unsinkable mind is right here in front of you. What will you choose to build with it?